Hey, what do you say, ladies and gentlemen? Dan and I are excited to introduce our Buy Me a Coffee page. We've had a lot of listeners reach out and say, hey there, bub, we really appreciate what you do and want to support the show. Well, here's one way to do that without big corporations taking, 30% of the cut of your generosity. Just head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/bigbluebanter and chip in if you'd like to support us directly. Every contribution means a lot, and it helps keep the show going strong. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for listening, and have a lovely day.
Welcome back. It's the Big Blue Banter New York Giants football podcast. I'm Dan Schneider, joined as always my co-host Nick Villado. Excited to preview the Giants' Week 7 matchup against the Broncos. Why am I excited? The Giants have overcome this obstacle twice already, beating down two teams that were favored by 6.5 to 7.5 points over the Giants. The Broncos are 7-point favorites over the Giants. This would be the third time already this year, if the Giants can pull this upset victory off, that they won as full touchdown underdogs. If this team's proven one thing to us, Nick, it's that they can, in any given game, compete their asses off and win that game. They can also, in any given game, turn the ball over 5 times in a row and lose to a team like the Saints. So who knows where this one's going, but I'm excited for it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Dan, I have to ask you, buddy, what is the 6-0 under the 2-4? We know the 2-4 is the New York Giants. The 6-0 is not the Wisconsin Badgers. So what is the 6-0?
Yeah, damn right. It's not the Wisconsin Badgers. That's an even bigger dumpster fire program than anything the Giants have fallen to over these last 10 years.
It's that bad.
Hard to believe, but it's actually true. They just lost 37-0 at home last week to Iowa, which is the absolute disgrace to their franchise. No, he should have, but he didn't. I would have enjoyed that text because I am just as angry at the Badgers as anyone can be right now. It's a whole bad situation.
Go Hawkeyes, baby. Let's go. I have a Hawkeye hat right up here. I'm like a low-key, I respect the Hawkeyes. Now, one of my best friends, Dan knows him. Dan's friends with him as well. His name's Don. Massive Hawkeye fan. He got me a Hawkeye hat.
True.
I'm in a college football dynasty with a bunch of people in the industry. That. Yeah, man. It's very nerdy, very virgin type activity. But I chose the Hawkeyes, baby, and I'm going to try to bring them a chip, baby. Let's go.
Okay. I like it. Hawkeyes winning it all would be a wild thing with their offense, but you never know. Anyway, the 6-0 is not the Badgers. It is the Baked Burger Dynasty Startup League, which started up 2 years ago. Adam Azer's league. He started it up, big league, and my team is 6-0, and there's been a wager in that league. I've talked a lot of smack this year about that team, Nick. So on Fantasy Football Today, one of the players in the league, who also was a big donor to our cause, is St. Jude Draftathon. He donated incredible donation to St. Jude to help our cause, has said, you've talked too much smack on the podcast about this Big Burger League team, and I am challenging you. I will donate 10-1 on whatever. We'll make a bet that you can't go undefeated in the Big Burger League, and I will pay out 10-1 on that bet if I lose. Now, it's a totally unfair bet for me because, one, I looked it up on Google using AI, and there is according to Google, a considerably less than 1% chance my team goes undefeated rest of season. It's very hard to do in fantasy football. So he should have given me way better than 10-1 odds. Really, 75-1 or 100-1 odds would have been fairest, 100-1 specifically by the math. But it is what it is. I'm not one to turn down a bet. So I will be updating that record until I lose in Baked Burger. And bye weeks are coming soon for me.
Yes, that's going to be a hurdle for Dan to clear, and Dan can't jump that high, so we'll have to see exactly how this goes.
Do not have a lot of ups on this body. All right, let's talk about the Giants-Broncos. Which side of the ball would you like to start on?
Let's go with the Broncos offense.
Okay.
All right, the Broncos offense against the Giants defense. Look, dude, there's some things the Giants could take advantage of when you look at the Broncos offense. They managed to score 13 points against the Jets, and the Jets were kind of all over them for much of the game. Now, looking at the Broncos offense, you have Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, you got Marvin Mims, all these dudes, right? But their offensive line, which is typically a very strong unit, one of the strongest in the league, they got some injuries, dude. Matt Parrott started last week for Ben Powers. Ben Powers has been out. Matt Parrott was forced to start, and it was not great and the Jets were all over them. But Matt Parrott ended up getting injured. And now they're going to start this kid, Alex Palszewski, I think is how you say it. It's a Polish last name. I'm not really great with that. And they brought up Calvin Throckmorton from the practice squad to play left guard next to Garrett Bowles and Luke Wattenberg. And then at right guard, you have Quinn Miners. And Quinn Miners, he's a solid player, but he took that devastating safety last week against the Jets with the holding penalty. Mike McGlinchey, he's a solid right tackle. That offensive line has some issues that the Giants could really look to pounce on, to take advantage of, to exploit. Now, what I'll say is, and I don't know why Sean Payton has strayed away from this, but the Broncos in general have had success running a lot of tempo.
Yeah.
And they did last week. I think the DeBo Nix to start the game in the first quarter had over 100 yards of offense. And that was a lot for this. And I have this little graphic here that courtesy, somebody else put these stats together. I really should have the name of that podcast, but I don't. And I do apologize for this, but then I made this little graphic. Anyways, as you can see in the no huddle tempo offense in 2025, Bo Nix is 18 of 29 for 183 yards with 2 touchdowns and an over 103 passer rating. So this is where we have seen success from the Denver Broncos. And if you think about it, going up against the Giants, you want to try to tire these guys out. You want to try to loosen the defense up a little bit, try to back them off a little bit and not have them just go right down the throats of the Denver Broncos, which the Giants are going to attempt to do more than likely through simulated pressures and stunts and twists and 4-man pressure packages, not as much from a blitzing perspective. But I expect Denver to try to tire this defense out, to try to dictate and to try to run no huddle tempo and hit on these 5-yard curl routes, all these tiny and quick concepts that Bo Nix has successfully operated within the system of Sean Payton. So I think you're going to see a fast start from Denver, but the Giants could quickly stifle that, and that could lead to them not being able to go no huddle because they can't keep putting their defense, which I'm very scared of, we'll get into them a little bit later, out onto the football field against the Giants offense. So it's a fun little back and forth between the offense and the defense because, look, you want to run no huddle if that's your best offense, but can you actually afford to do that if the offense isn't being as successful as you would hope? Because that just, you waste 20 seconds on the clock and then you put the football back. That's not ideal.
Especially not at home. But I think part of being at home allows them to run more no huddle, which is a problem for the Giants. They weren't at home last week against the Jets. I believe that last game against the Eagles was in Philly as well. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. In both those 2 games, Nick, and that was one game was with, I believe their starting guard, the Eagles, but I'm not sure if he got hurt in that game or before it. And then obviously with Matt Parrott last week, who is now on IR, the former Giant, you would imagine Throckmorton is going to be worse, but that's not a guarantee because Parrott was not very good in this past game. But in both games, the Broncos offense struggled to move the football against the Eagles.
Don't think Throckmorton is starting, by the way, just to say.
Okay.
It's going to be the Polish last name.
Yeah. Okay.
But that hasn't
regardless.
Yeah.
I don't think that player is going to be much of a difference from Parrott. Maybe worse, maybe a little better, not much of a difference. Maybe we'll take less penalties, honestly. But in both games, the Broncos offense really struggled. Against the Eagles, they put together a couple drives at the end, but for a while they were doing absolutely nothing. Against the Jets, dude, like you mentioned it earlier, think of how many possessions they got. The Jets had 80 total yards in the game and 19 yards passing in the first half. The Jets were just going play, punt, play, punt, play, punt. The Broncos had 75, it felt like, possessions on offense. It wasn't obviously that, and did nothing with them. And I think a big reason for that is exactly what you said, which is this offense, when they're not in tempo and they're not in no huddle, just feels off right now. And a big part of it is not the receivers who have played well or the offensive line who has played well. And now they have an injury, so we'll see if that continues. But Garrett Bowles has been on that Andrew Thomas track so far this year, one of the best tackles in the NFL. But it's Bo Nix. And this is something Jacob Gibbs, my co-host on Beyond the Box Score, has really harped on this year. And he's watched a lot more Bo Nix tape than I have. But he thinks Nix is playing terrible football right now for the Broncos, given the circumstances around him and the team context around him. And according to some of the numbers, he really is. This is according to FF Data, who say that he's been quietly one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, independent of his surroundings, which are very good on the Broncos. 6.2 yards per attempt is terrible. That's 26 of 33, despite good old offensive line context and plenty of weapons at the wide receiver position. 5.85 air yards per attempt is 21st. A minus 0.3 completion rate over expected is 28th among quarterbacks, and an 18.4% off-target throw rate, that's 27%. He's been really bad on the deep half as well on 20-plus yard throws. This is common from last year where he was not very good. He got into a nice groove last year, but we may be reaching that point, I think, Nick, where defenses are starting to have a lot of tape on Bo Nix, adjust the concepts that he liked to call last year and liked to lean on last year, take them away, and voila, what's left for Bo Nix? So far this year, according to the numbers, it hasn't been much.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Payton looks to change some things up a little bit and maybe looks to lean a little bit more on tempo, since Bo Nix has really only excelled when they're running that no huddle tempo offense, which again, we saw the numbers earlier. It's not a ton that they've done that, but against the Giants, where you have this team traveling across the country in this very hostile environment, do you look to start fast,
Right.
get on the New York Giants and dictate to the rookie quarterback by scoring points and also slow down the pass rush? And that's something that both of these offenses are going to need to do. Both of them have to be like, yo, we just need to calm down this pass rush, because both of these defenses arguably have the best pass rush or the top 5 pass rushes in the National Football League, with what obviously Denver, we'll get in the defense a little bit later, but they lead the league in sacks by like 10 sacks. They have 30 sacks this season. It's crazy what they're doing, but the Giants can really target that left guard, and they can really try to use their stunt game, get Dexter Lawrence isolated against him through formations, tighten up, use tight fronts to do that. 5 guys on the line of scrimmage. Do you trust the Giants on the back end to be able to handle Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin? I think the Giants can. I think they can. I think Paulson Adebo will be okay against Cortland Sutton, and then you have Cordell Flott. He can handle the Marvin Mims of the world. But again, the secondary, now that we're getting into the middle parts of the season, the Giants secondary on defense, that is, they need to be a more cohesive unit. They need to be more communicative. We can't see as many coverage busts. This isn't James Betcher level coverage busts, but we have seen coverage busts, and we've seen busts in the run game as well. And that's been an issue for this Giants defense all season. And there's times where the people who watch the all 22 tape on defense, you see like it doesn't result in the points, but somebody is open and the Giants miss somebody, and that's got to be rectified. And I'm hoping that gets rectified against this Denver Broncos offense that is struggling, because you're right. Like, I think they rank 21st right now, or 20th in points scored. So that's middle of the pack ish. They average 21.7 points per game. They average 337 yards per game. That is 15th. So it's in the top half of the league. J.K. Dobbins is doing a good job running the football, specifically out of shotgun. He's keeping R.J. Harvey on the bench because he's being efficient on the ground from everything that I have gleaned. But the overall offense in general has struggled because Bo Nix is not living up to his rookie season. I'll be real with you guys. Selecting underwear is a burden of responsibility. This cloth, this material, it lives so close in proximity to the most personal areas of our lives. And that's why you need to find underwear that actually fits well, that is comfortable, that treats you with the respect that you deserve. And that's exactly how I felt when I discovered Skims. My personal favorite of Skims is the cotton 5-inch boxer brief. I've tried every boxer brief in the game, but this one finally nails it. They hit right on the thigh and actually stay there. No riding up, no bagging out, no awkward 5 p.m. wedgie that you need to adjust in front of a subway full of people. The fabric feels soft but durable, and it keeps its shape. Bottom line, I feel comfortable. I feel confident, and I don't have to think about my underwear all day. That's a win. If you've been sleeping on Skims men, it's time to check them out. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com and let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and pick our show in the drop-down menu that follows.
Not living up to it at all. I mean, he's basically found some success with no huddle and some screens. And that's what's bothering me about this game. Like, is Shane Bowen ready? Because he wasn't, in my mind, ready against Washington when they threw a lot of these around the line of scrimmage passes. Is he ready for a lot of passes to go around the line of scrimmage? Because that's what I saw watching this Denver offense against the Eagles and the Jets. It's going to be Troy Franklin. It's going to be Harvey at times, Dobbins, Evan Ingram gets a lot of passes around the line of scrimmage. It's a bunch of screens, there's a bunch of bubbles, there's a bunch of crap around the line of scrimmage. And, will the Giants, what'd you say?
It's got to be smelly. A bunch of crap around the line of scrimmage.
Bunch of crap around the line of scrimmage, which is a good thing that we now have Flott on the field for all snaps and not Banks, because this could be a really Banks, the DBs, like you said, are going to have to make a ton of plays in this game for the Giants as far as tackling goes and just reacting well to stuff coming underneath, because most importantly, you're going to laugh at that, but most importantly, and you had one, by the way, something.
I have many.
down the throat, like shove it down their throat or
I
something.
know.
But I
When I say it, I'm usually aware of it. There was once or twice that I read the comments and I see somebody say, "Oh man," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even pick up on that."
I let that one pass, by the way. I always let them pass. But point being, like, I do still have faith. This is not good for the Giants, but I do have faith that Sean Payton's a very good play caller, a very good offensive mind, and could just come up with a way to beat Bowen's defense. He could have a whole week to prep for it, a little bit longer with the travel, whatever it may be. He's just like, I know how to beat this Bowen defense. And that may just happen, and it may negate the issues that Bo Nix has had. But I have confidence in this Giants defense against this Broncos offense because I do not believe in Bo Nix. And I know I was told how wrong I was about Bo Nix last year. Can't believe you wouldn't take him over Neighbors. I can't believe you said the Giants should take Neighbors over Bo Nix. How stupid are you? See what a quarterback can do? He went to the playoffs. Say, all right, now we got some film on him. What's happening? He's not good. Like, he has not been good this year. Independent of his team around him, he's actually been terrible. As this guy says, one of the worst in the NFL because he has a good situation around him. But at the same time, he's played good football in the past, Nick. So I think he could have a good game against the Giants. I don't think that's impossible by any means, especially if Sean Payton delivers a really good game plan for Bo Nix that beats Shane Bowen's defense. And that's something that remains to be seen. But this is clearly, Nick, the side of the ball where I feel way more confident on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because we can get into the defense now, and it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. They are number 1 or number 2 in almost every single metric, it seems like, when you go through their advanced stats, when you go through their pressure. They're setting, I don't know if it's historic pressure rates, but their pressure rates are insane right now, Dan, how much they're generating pressure against opposing quarterbacks. And look, they blitz somewhat, but it's not a ton. I think they blitz like a 29%. So that's a decent amount. A lot of it's simulated pressure, but really it's names that people they're not even household names. That's like the crazy part about it. Like, Nick Bonino is not a household name. We love Nick Bonino when he came out of Oklahoma, and he just got paid, bro. And he just got paid, and he is sitting there. What does he have? Like 8 sacks on the season? I think he's one of the only players with more sacks than Brian Burns right now.
Yep.
But opposite of Nick Bonino is Jonathan Cooper. And I remember Cooper when he was in college as well. It was like, he's solid. He is balling out of his mind, Jonathan Cooper.
So well.
And I want to bring this up because it's important, right? This is Jonathan Cooper talking about Jaxson Dart, because we're starting to see opposing defenses and opposing players who are about to play the Giants start to opine on Jaxson Dart and to start to weigh in on their opinions of Jaxson Dart, because reporters are really asking them about it. And this is what Jonathan Cooper had to say. Let me know if you hear this, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, he's a young guy. He's, feeling himself a little bit. He's out there running around. He's got the chain on. He's dancing. It's like everybody needs something. So, but we went against QBs who have ran around in the pocket and have, try to do stuff with their legs. So, ain't nothing we haven't seen.
So, nothing too crazy there, but people are being forced to ask, defenders are being forced to ask or answer questions about Jaxson Dart at this point, and bringing up necklaces and all this like flair and this flash. I just thought it was a interesting little thing.
It is.
Exactly. Now, this is a defense that can attempt to contain Jaxson Dart. This is a defense that has successfully contained a lot of quarterbacks, because you have Jonathan Cooper. I bring up Zach Allen a lot. Zach Allen is an absolute stud, one of the most underrated players in the National Football League. And then you have DJ Jones, and there's another big body to eat up space there. And it's all coordinated by Vance Joseph, one of the best defensive minds in the game. John Franklin Myers is another player who is on that defensive line. That is a talented, underrated, aggressive, and physical defensive line that can really get after the passer. So I'm looking at Austin Schlottman, who looks like he could be starting, John Runyon, and Greg Van Roten. Those 3 guys are going to be so challenged. Yeah. So challenged. And also Jermaine Oluminor and Andrew Thomas as well, from the Nick Boninos of the world. And Nick Bonino, he's a different type of pass rusher, Dan. Nick Bonino is a speed rusher. I don't want to say he's like Brian Burns, because they are 2 completely different players, but the high side rush is dangerous. So it's going to be on Oluminor.
He has such a good job of predicting the snap. Like, he has a great jump right off the snap. He understands that aspect of playing. That's something Aiden Hutchinson does as well as really well as also.
100%, man. I mean, their pressure rate, I think they're generating pressure on 13.16% of their snaps. No other team exceeds 9%. Wow. That's what we're talking about here. And this is a team that likes to use a lot of man coverage. So I'm wondering, do the Giants condense their formations a little bit more to create, because we've seen whenever Dable has gone up against these man coverage heavy defenses,
You're
he
right.
tends to condense and then he
Run
releases
mesh.
the mesh for sure, but he'll release the outside receiver. And sometimes it's Theo Johnson. Maybe it'll be a little Jordan Humphrey, a bigger bodied receiver. And he'll release the outside receiver vertical and then bring the inside receiver underneath horizontally to create that natural pick, that natural rub that is not going to be flagged whatsoever, to try to gain leverage in space in football. Cause that's all this is, right? You just want leverage. You want to create space somehow.
Right.
And the Giants are one of the teams that use a lot of spread formations, and that makes a lot of sense as well. You want to use spread formations to open up the field inside the numbers, and they release a lot of routes. We talk a lot about the post wheel. It's a big staple in Kafka and Dable's playbook, but you rarely see them throw the post wheel. Post wheel is there to occupy the safety and to spread the defense out outside the numbers to open up the space between the numbers and the hash. And I could still see the Giants doing that against certain defensive looks, but I am curious to see if we do see a little bit more condensed, some more 12 personnel as well. Pony packages. I hope the Giants have more of those split back looks, because it seems like teams aren't using that as frequently, and that could throw a little bit of a wrench into what Denver is doing, and also give the Giants an easier method and easier access to 7-8 man protections to slow this pass rush down as well.
That's a great point. And I think we'll see all of that. And potentially it could lead to the Giants having matchups that they want to exploit, Tracy versus a linebacker, whatever it may be in the passing game. They're going to need that, because you mentioned it most. This is going to be, or you mentioned it earlier, this is going to be a different look than the Giants have played all season. So on starters, you mentioned the Broncos pressure at a rate of 13% higher than the next team at 9%, despite not blitzing a lot. That's the sign of an amazing defense. And Jaxson Dart has been much better when kept clean this year. Shocker, right? He's 75% completion rate, 349, 3 touchdowns when kept clean. Shout out here to Giants fan in Charlotte, who I believe gets these stats from a source that I do want to call out real quick. It is Sumer Sports. So I want to mention that as well. These are really good stats. But then when pressured, Dart is 48% with 159, a touchdown, and both his interceptions were when pressured. So it really is a situation where the Giants need to play great from that standpoint on the offensive line. That's the only path toward winning this game. And I do believe Benito might give Thomas more trouble than any pass rusher he's going to face all year, just because he's so quick off the snap and get up the arc so fast. We'll see. I'm not positive that would be the case. That's just my initial take. And also something you mentioned earlier, where the Broncos play a lot of man coverage, a lot of cover one behind it was middle field close. Well, guess what? The Broncos play man coverage at the highest rate of any team in the NFL, according to these Sumer stats. And it's 50. They used it on 52% of their dropbacks against the Jets and got 9 sacks in that game. But they're at 46% of man coverage in season. That is so rare in today's NFL to see. Most of these teams are playing zone, and Jaxson Dart has done well against zone. He's done better against zone. But in these man coverage situations, Riley Moss has the lowest target rate in man coverage this season. It was against the Jets, just one target. He let up 1 reception on it. Patrick Surtain, similar numbers. They're the only 2 players in the NFL who have 4 or more PBUs on their team this season. That's another stat. They're going to get their hands on the football. So we're going to see a lot of cover one. We're going to see a lot of man behind these pressures. And that's something that's going to be a new look for Jaxson Dart.
Yeah, and even Jaquan McMillan, who is there, I guess you could call him, he's somewhat more of a nickel back.
Right.
He's playing more snaps than Jedi Barron, the kid that they drafted out of Texas recently. And he's another one that they love. Whenever the Giants do go in condensed formations, this is where it gets. Vance Joseph loves to send those simulated and sometimes just blitz. And a guy like McMillan will go on the blitz, right? So those linebackers, they will go through the A gap and they'll disguise it very well. Alex Singleton and Justin Strahan, those 2 guys are quality blitzers just because they do disguise it very well. And it's also behind a very vaunted pass rush where, look, man, you keep sending 4 and it's the same 4. It gets in your head like, oh, I got Nick Benito. He's coming, right? He's but he's going on the blitz, or he's going to rush the passer. He's going to rush the passer, and now he just doesn't. You're like, oh shit! And then you look through the A gap, and the slide, everyone slid this way, and now you have somebody right in the face of Jaxson Dart, and it's Alex Singleton or Justin Strahan. You got to be cognizant and aware of that. And I just think Vance Joseph and this defense, and it's also because the defense is so vaunted and so good. They do an excellent job at that portion as well. It really keeps the the offensive protection on its toes. I mean, it should. And then the secondary, it's like whoever Patrick Surtain is on is almost erased at this point. Riley Moss, Riley Moss is an excellent athlete out there, but I think that's a place where the Giants would have an advantage if they had the receiver to really take advantage of it.
Which they don't, yeah.
Which they really don't at this point. So Darius Slayton.
Even then, I'm not even sure they'd have the time in the pocket to do it.
Yeah, that's why I think this is going to be and you're going to stick to that similar. We brought it up a few over the last week, basically. That RPO, you're going to try to keep that defense honest and disciplined as long as you can, and then it's going to be on Jaxson Dart to make the decision to optimize and maximize the play. So that's going to either be hand the football off to Cam Skattebo, throw the bubble to Wan'Dale Robinson. Like that's a way that you can force the defense to stay in place so you can attack the space that they are not. And you can also run the football. But this drop back passing attack, that's not something that the Giants do a ton, but you can't really do that effectively against a defense like this, especially one that is so strong in the secondary, because you're not going to be creating the separation that you need to get the football out of your hand. So it's going to be a really, the Giants offense is going to be challenged severely in this game in a hostile environment in an altitude that is very high. So it's going to be difficult for them to catch their breath. There's a lot working against the New York Giants. And if the Giants could pull this victory off, the offense. If the Giants could pull this victory off, it would be an even more of I don't know if it'd be more of a statement win than the Philadelphia, because that is an in-division win. But all things considering, since the Philadelphia Eagles are a sputtering team at the moment, it could be more of a statement win. I don't think that's hyperbolic.
No, I don't think that's hyperbolic at all. To me, this would be the best win of their season. That the Eagles were down Kenyon Mitchell and Jalen Carter. It played a big role. And plus, like you said, the Eagles offense is just terrible right now with their offensive line situation. The Eagles still may be a better team than the Broncos. I know the Broncos beat them. It's close. The Broncos offense has been terrible this season, quite frankly. They've won games in spite of it. But defensively, that's where the challenge starts. And it's going to be something new for Dart, right? Like he's faced against man coverage, is a 54.5% completion rate in 22 attempts. Against zone, 70% completion rate. He's been much better against zone. He's also seen zone a lot more. He's only had 16 dropbacks and attempts against cover 1 this year. And that's what he's going to face most in this game. It's going to be very different. He's played a lot of cover 3 this year. That's by far the most snaps he's had, or most attempts, cover 4, cover 6. But now it's going to be a lot of cover 1, and we'll see how he does with that. It's going to be a very interesting game. But also, to me, Nick, like the Giants offense, to me, and winning this football game comes down entirely to, can they do what they did last week from a physicality standpoint? Like, can they deliver in the run game? Can Cam Skattebo deliver that same type of action? And can they get the same kind of push on the offensive line against the Broncos run defense? It's going to be a combo of that and then quick passing, like you said. But one thing they have to do in this game against a team that's going to play a lot of man, and maybe if they're not going to blitz a lot, the Broncos, this will be a problem, but they're going to have to try some screens. They're going to have to try some stuff like that to just counter what the Broncos are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is this team 33.8% pressure rate too. Like that's a lot of pressure that they're getting out there. That they lead the league. That's according to Pro Football Reference.
Sure.
And that's up for the passing plays, obviously. But dude, it's going to be something. I expect to go back to Shane Bowen. Hopefully we see some cover 3. It seems like Bo Nix, according to some numbers that I saw, has struggled a lot against cover 3 for some reason, middle of the field closed. So that's something that they're struggling against. I think we're going to see that because, again, the rushing attack has been efficient for Denver. J.K. Dobbins averages, I think, 4.9 yards per carry. R.J. Harvey, when he gets out there, averages 4.7 yards per carry. That's above average. That's well above average. And that's where I fear the Giants defense could be had, right? Not necessarily through Bo Nix. You have to contain Bo Nix, which we've seen in the past with Shane Bowen. He has used the quarterback spy. You have to treat Bo Nix like he's Jaden Daniels from that perspective, because he will make you pay with his legs. And I don't want the Giants to get caught in man coverage on these 3rd and 5 situations, and then Bo Nix picks up like 20 yards, which we've seen this season. We saw last season. We don't want that, right? Because that is an absolute backbreaker. But when it comes to running the football, the Giants just need to be on their P's and Q's and play as a unit. And everyone needs to execute their gap assignment. That is defensive line, that is linebackers, that is safeties coming downhill, because that's where I think the Giants could be had, is they just surrender too much on the ground to this Broncos offense that can actually run the ball, whereas Philadelphia can't. And then the Giants defense gets tired out, having to defend the run, and then it puts too much of a burden on the offense, which is going up against a vaunted defense. So that's where I think the Giants could lose this football game, is if the defense cannot fit the run against J.K. Dobbins and R.J.
Great point. Yeah, because the defense is going to have to be near perfect, I think, in this game. Honestly, in this matchup, the Giants just can't see too much coming from the Giants offense. I hope I'm wrong, right? Like Jaxson Dart could be the real deal if he figures this defense out with what he's got to work with from a skill position player. The Broncos have beat up on Cam Ward, Jake Browning, Jalen Hurts, and Fields this year. Those are their wins this year. I mean, 3 of those quarterbacks are playing terrible football, Cam Ward, Browning, and Fields. And I know in Ward's case, at least, it's possibly due to just bad situation around him and stuff. He's made some really good throws.
He keeps it a buck, though, bro.
He gives it a buck. And then in Hurts' situation, that was the 4th of those. He's been playing terrible football, and so is that offense as their offensive line to step back. So they haven't really beaten world beater quarterbacks. They lost to Jones and they lost to Herbert. So like, can Dart be in that camp of the Jones Herbert camp when it comes to what these quarterbacks can figure out against a defense that's this vaunted and this good? But I know one thing, the Broncos are going into this game incredibly healthy with the exception of their left guard position. And even Dre Greenlaw might come back from IR for this game, which would be not good at all for the Giants standpoint. So it's going to have to be Cam Skattebo delivering in the run game again, man. That's how I feel about this game. That's how the Giants win this football game.
Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about that, right?
How could we?
I don't know, like, and that's no knock on Cam Skattebo. Obviously, we love Cam Skattebo, but going into a place against the number 1 defense in the league, and it's not just because they can rush the passer, they can also stop the run. Going into that place and just relying on a rookie 4th round pick, and that's kind of like that's probably a path to winning. That's a tall task. But holy crap, is it something that the Giants do really just out muscle the Zach Allens and the DJ Jones and the John Franklin Myers? That's a tough line to do that against, though.
It's going to be a tough line to get the run game going, but it's going to be something the Giants, I hope, Nick, in my mind at least, will stick to, because I think our defense can keep this game close enough where even if it's 2 possessions at any point, like the Broncos go up by 10 or 14, stay calm, stick to the script if you're the Giants on offense, and keep running the football. I know we've gone away from that at pass, and I'm not even the biggest predicate. Usually I'm not like to run the football all the time. I just think the Giants are at a major disadvantage when they drop back to pass the ball in this specific game, because I think Benito can beat Thomas, and not many can beat Thomas. I think he's one of the rare ones who can beat Thomas. And then outside of that, the Giants are pretty much overmatched from a talent standpoint on offense versus their defense when they drop back to pass the football. Maybe the case in the run game too, but at least they're sticking with it. They're burning clock. Like, it just, to me, it's that kind of game. Like, play it like the Jets played it. Just do a little better on offense than the Jets did.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And they have somebody on their defense who's going to be filling the B gap against Cam Skattebo, who isn't quite a Tasmanian devil, but he has that type of play style, and that is Talanoa Hufanga, who used to be on the San Francisco 49ers. And he plays with a chip on his shoulder, so it should be fun to see him and Cam Skattebo meet each other in the hole.
Giants got to get a Samoan at some point. I feel like these guys are just always playing great.
We had Nikita Whitlock, was he, or am I just making that up?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
But you're right. They play with their hair on fire.
They play with their hair on fire, and they work out a lot. Some of these draft picks just work out. Like, they play better than where they were drafted a lot of the time, I feel like. But that's totally based on speculation.
Of course. And I'll say this, though. Their defense, and I'm knocking on wood saying this, they only have 1 interception on the season. So they haven't been taking the football away.
A lot of man,
They do play a lot of man, and a lot of the reason is because the coverage is so tight and the quarterback is under such immense pressure that he doesn't throw the football. So, again, this team is
not good.
30 sacks on the season already. I think second is the Steelers with 20. Just for perspective.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know. Just for perspective, there have been several seasons where the New York Giants hadn't even cracked 30 sacks in a season. And they did this through 6 weeks. Now, Justin Fields got sacked 9 times last week. That certainly helps it, playing Justin Fields. And we also went through some of the quarterbacks that the Denver Broncos have played. Outside of Justin Herbert and the way Daniel Jones is playing right now, they haven't played that many great quarterbacks. I mean, you're beating up on the Cam Wards of the world, but this is a rookie quarterback still. So let's keep this.
Agreed.
Let's keep this buck right now.
Boat. Yeah,
he could be in that boat. Now, Jaxson Dart hasn't suggested or put anything out there that would suggest that he is that type of quarterback. He's playing above that right now, but this is still a rookie making his 4th start in a very hostile environment. And the last time the Giants played in a very hostile environment was against a much inferior opponent in the New Orleans Saints, and the Giants turned the football over 5 times. So mistakes can happen, right? And we also may not have John Michael Schmitz, and we'll have Austin Schlottman. And I get it. Austin Schlottman played well
Might that be a
in the
sneaky
second half.
upgrade?
Could it be an upgrade? Maybe, but we also I don't want to underrate
I'm joking.
the mental side of this. I think Schlotman is a
Yes.
veteran, so I think that will be okay. But that could be something that look the Zach Allens of the world could feast upon, right?
You're
And
right.
also, I don't have that much faith in the John Runyons.
The
Nor do I have a
JMS
lot
has
of
played
faith.
better this year. Let me make that clear. But it's just not. Slotman played really well in his
Yeah,
absence.
I felt like he played. Yeah, I felt like he played
Yeah.
well. Exactly. But this is a different task, and I do wonder if that's another angle that this defense could look to exploit against a young offense.
Yeah.
A young offense that is also down. What now? 2 starters.
Yes.
If Darius Slayton plays, it would be 3, or doesn't play, that would
Unlikely
be
he'll
3.
play. Yeah.
Is it unlikely at this point?
I don't
didn't see
know
the
if it's-
Thursday practice report yet.
It just seems unlikely. We'll see if that changes. It seems like both him and JMS will be out in this game, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. So don't go by that.
Will Jordan Humphrey revenge game then?
Yeah, LJ revenge game. Maybe, hopefully. I mean, I like him on the field regardless because he can block, and that gives the Giants an advantage. One area the Giants will certainly have an advantage in is in this one. Denver ranks last in the NFL, Nick. Dead last in starting field position allowed on kickoff returns. It's the 32-yard line, worse than the NFL. The Giants rank second in number of 30-plus yard kickoff returns with 10. And this is, again, courtesy of Giant fan in Charlotte, who does dig up a lot of my favorite stats during the week. So I do reference him a lot. So this is an area the Giants have an advantage in. We should hopefully be getting some really good starting position for our offense to the point where, maybe we can just get a couple first downs and get field goals. Because this is the type of game where, a lot of games were like, oh, we don't want field goals. That's how we'll lose. I feel like this is a game where the Giants could kick a lot of field goals and potentially steal a win based on that.
It could be one of those, hey, look, once we get into the red zone, just if you could score a touchdown, that's gold. And it's tough too, because this is the number 1 red zone defense by a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot. I think they allow a touchdown on like 29% of the red zone trips, whereas like the next team is like in the low 40s or the late 30s. So it's like, again, I don't think I can oversell how good this defense is by the numbers, right? And I wrote an article about it over there at Big Blue View. If you guys want to go check it out, it should be dropping here soon. So it's going to be a tall task, but hell, man, if they answer this call, if Jaxson Dart and Cam Skattebo answer this call, it does say a lot. It says a lot about the 2025 season, which a lot of us, including myself, completely wrote off 2 weeks ago, right? Or 3 weeks ago. And at this point, if Dart can win this game, if the Giants can find a way to escape Denver with a win to make it the record 3-4 ahead of a matchup in Philadelphia, the excitement, oh geez, it's going to just blow up, dude. It's going to go everywhere.
All right, let's do predictions. Where are we at?
All right. Predictions. Yeah, I would love to pick a win right now. I'm not going to, though. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. The over-under is 39.5. It's the lowest on the week. I think there will be a lot of field goals, and I think it's going to be, I would say, a 16-10 Denver Broncos win.
Interesting. So we've been way off this year on predictions, worse than I feel like we've ever been. Last week, we both predicted a loss to the Eagles.
I don't think I've been way off. I think last week I was off. Other than that, though, I think I've been pretty accurate.
Okay. Maybe you have been. I feel like I've been way off. So let me speak for myself there. Sorry for speaking for you there, Nick.
It's okay.
We'll go back. I'm going to go back and grind these predictions. You better be right that you haven't been way off. I will find the information on that.
I will come to your house.
I will fucking find that information. But we're off about the Eagles game. That's for sure.
Definitely.
I mean, who could have seen that coming? I don't want to be off about this game, but I do feel pretty confident in what you said. It's going to look a lot and feel a lot like that Jets game last week. That's kind of the upside feel for me, though, because there is a possible.
That's a feel, right? Like it
could
also just be like completely different than like.
It could be different than we've expected. The Giants have been a team that's proven like the Saints game was nothing like we expected. This Eagles game was nothing like we expected. The game before that was nothing like we expected. They've had the Chargers. They've had 3 games where nothing like we expected. So it's that kind of team. I also think it's possible Broncos at home having that advantage, have a get-right game on offense, and we're just not competitive in this game. I think that's possible too, unfortunately. But I don't think that's how it's going to play out. So I am going to go with Giants defense holds a lot in the red zone. Giants offense gets held up a lot in the red zone. The Giants have fewer trips to the red zone. Broncos win 16-13.
So we're basically lockstep right here.
Yeah, we're pretty close on this one, and that's the feel. And we'll see what happens, Giants fans. I hope that I'm wrong and Nick's wrong, and the Giants win this football game. It'd be so if the Giants can get to 3-4, the win over Denver, it just puts so much on their plate for that next Eagles game.
if you look at our predictions, I mean, it's very possible. I mean, we both predicted a loss, but we're talking about a
close
one-score
loss.
loss
Yeah.
both times. Anything can happen, especially
The
with the
Jets
Giants
almost won
having.
last week.
Yeah, exactly. The Giants have a significant special teams advantage, which could play a massive role in this game. That's something to look at, man. Like Tay Banks just had twins. He's returning kicks. You know, what if Tay Banks has this huge play on special teams? You never know.
Maybe that would be cool. Good for him. All right. Thanks so much for listening to the Big Blue Banter podcast. Hit the like button, leave a comment, rate, and subscribe. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.